Hello everyone, welcome back to the English Web. How to give a farewell speech. Hmm, that sounds like a jittery experience, right? So always remember that you give a farewell speech either when you are retiring from an organization or you are shifting to another organization, or you may also give a farewell speech for your colleague who is retiring or leaving the organization. So in both ways, most people associate a farewell speech to be associated with an overflow of emotions. Yes, it is bound to be an emotional experience because a person is going to leave an organization, and it usually is not very easy on the colleagues and on the organization itself. But in order to ensure that you give a well balanced, perfect farewell speech, it is important to keep in mind various aspects when you give a farewell speech. So today I'm going to help you all construct a farewell speech which is very well balanced and ensures that you have covered all the aspects and you don't want to miss out on any aspects, right? So, and one thing that I would always want you all to keep in mind is that it doesn't matter if you give a 5 minute long farewell speech or a half an hour long farewell speech. It really doesn't matter. Always ensure that you have included all the points that you've had to, whether it's a 5 minute speech or a half an hour long speech. The quality matters at the end of the day. So let's start with how you would give a farewell speech. Picture this. You have a colleague who has been serving your organization for a glorious 30 years, and it's time for your colleague to retire. And you, as you are somebody who has to give a farewell speech for the retiring colleague. So, how are you going to do that? Are you excited? Are you nervous? That's very normal. But you have to ensure that you are well prepared before you give the farewell speech. So, the first point that you would always include in your farewell speech is the contribution that your colleague has made to the organization. It is very important that you enlist what all your colleague has done for the organization. You need to start with that, and you have to also mention about how your colleague will leave a void in the organization after he or she leaves. So that is one very important aspect that you need to cover right at the very beginning. The second point covers how your colleague has kind of helped you in your professional journey as well. So you want to give a little bit of a personal touch to the farewell speech. So you have to talk about your equation with your colleague and how your colleague has helped you grow in your professional journey, and also talk about what kind of a person your colleague is. This will not only ensure that your farewell speech is very formal, it will also ensure that there is some level of an informal element, a personal element that you have added to your farewell speech. So please keep that in mind. The third one is, always know that your colleague feels, you want your colleague to always cherish what you have said in the farewell speech, right? So always ensure that you add some experiences that you have had, or a lot of your colleagues have had memorable experiences with the retiring colleague, retiring, or somebody who's leaving the organization. So talk about some anecdotes, some fun experiences that you've had with your colleague. And lastly, again, please ensure that you talk about how your colleague would greatly be missed. You don't want to, leave any chance to emphasize the importance of the retiring colleague, because that colleague has served for a very long period of time and he has been an asset to the company, right? So you want to do that. And the last bit is wishing your colleague the very best with the future ahead. You want your colleague to be very happy, to kind of succeed. If he is shifting to another organization, you want him or her to succeed and flourish, in another organization as well, or with whatever he or she is planning to do. So you have to do that. So once again, I shall repeat as to what you must include in your farewell speech. You start with the service that your colleague has done to the organization. You talk about the colleague's nature and how he or she has helped you grow personally, and how that colleague is, when it comes to his or her nature. So that is the second aspect. The third aspect is, you always want to talk about how your colleague would leave a void in the organization after he or she leaves the organization. So that is about it. You also have to talk about some experiences or anecdotes, that also would make your colleague laugh and cherish the times you've spent together. And lastly, you have to congratulate and wish the very best to your colleague, so that he or she leaves on a positive note. So that's about how to construct a farewell speech. I hope it's very easy. Don't get jittery. So please keep in mind your equation with your colleague and what your colleague has done for the company, and accordingly just form a farewell speech, keeping in mind all these aspects. So if there are any queries that you have regarding how to give a farewell speech, please do not forget to leave them in the comment section below. I shall reply to your comments. And now it's time for today's word, which is unruly. I am sure a lot of you would have heard this word. Unruly means disobedient or wild. So, somebody who is not very well organized. You can say, I encounter an unruly crowd at the airport, or I bumped into some unruly passengers while traveling. So it means that they were not obedient, they were very, very unorganized, they were disobedient. Basically, so it has a negative connotation to it. So that's about today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please do not forget to like my video, comment below, share and subscribe to my channel. I shall see you guys soon. Bye.